everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our podcast, Is Breakfast Included? How's everyone doing? This week on the show, we are joined by restaurateur and entrepreneur Brandon Hurtado of Hurtado BBQ. Brandon chats about his humble start with a pop-up event and how it's grown into multiple thriving restaurants in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Brandon also discusses how he tackled the pandemic's challenges, how he made the shift from marketing to mastering barbecue, and he explains his unique mexicue flavor, which fuses barbecue and Mexican flavors together. Find out how Brandon expanded his business and what his plans are for the future in our newest episode starting right now.
All right, man, tell everyone who you are.
So my name is Brandon Hurtado from Hurtado BBQ here in Arlington, Texas, and I'm super happy to be here.
All right, Brandon, thank you. A lot of people may not know this, Brandon, and may be cheating, but you are my nephew in a way.
Yes. Yes. I've known Bernie for my entire life, pretty much.
Right. Well, man, thanks for taking time. I know you guys are busy right now, but man, I just want to ask you, we're going to start, I've known you all your life, so I can't ask you questions about what you did, but Hurtado BBQ, man, when did you start this idea? I mean, is this something that, have you always done barbecue?
Not really. I really had no plans of getting in the restaurant industry. You know, I went to college to do marketing and PR and started a marketing agency in 2015. Cooking has always just been kind of a pastime for me. It's been something that I've done just because I enjoy it. And I did a pop-up barbecue taco event in 2018 at a local brewery here in Arlington called Division Brewing. And those guys were like, "Hey, you need to come out here and sell tacos one day." I was just there having a beer after work, and the owner was like, "You know, we don't have any food out here that's really good. You should come out here and just sell tacos or something, just see how it goes." And that first event that we did was just very disorganized. It was a complete shit show, and I didn't really know what to expect. And we packed that place. I mean, if the fire marshal was there, he probably would have shut us down. But it was nuts how many people came out to support without really knowing what we were doing. And I don't even think we had a name for it yet. It was just me and my wife, and we were selling food that I'd cooked at home that I thought was, decent. And knowing what I know now, it was pretty shitty. So the fact that people came out and supported us was pretty awesome.
Before the barbecue thing, man, you said you started a marketing agency. Was it Anchor Marketing?
Yeah. So I started Anchor in 2015.
Oh, is that still part of your life?
Yeah, so Anchor is very much so still part of my life. My brother Blaine actually runs it, and he's over there right now working. We're in the Choctaw Stadium, the old Rangers ballpark.
Oh, really?
Yep.
This pop-up show, man, I remember when it happened. I remember you promoting it on Facebook. I remember myself thinking like, "Oh, that's cool. He's got a little side hustle going on." And before too long, man, that's all I heard was Hurtado BBQ. Hurtado, you got to try it. Because me knowing you all your life, I didn't know you could barbecue like that.
Well, I didn't know I could either, and I'm still learning every day. I mean, it's a process, right? And it's one of those things that you never are satisfied with it, whether you're doing barbecue for 5 years or 50 years. I feel like there's people that have been in it in a long time and they're still perfecting their craft and kind of learning every day. So that's my goal, is just to get 1% better every day.
And the way it took off, it kind of took off like wildfire. Like it started as a pop-up, and then you were there every weekend, and then you started going other places. And, how prepared were you for that?
Not very initially. So we started up doing pop-ups, and we were doing those like every other weekend in 2018. And then I bought a food trailer off of Craigslist and remodeled that, put a bunch of money into that and a new smoker. And that launched at the same brewery in March of 2019, so about a year later. And the line outside of the brewery the day that we launched the food trailer was nuts. I mean, there was probably 200 people in line waiting to eat our food. And so at that moment, I was like, okay, this is something that I could, potentially turn into a career. And I was still doing marketing at that time, full time. And I didn't really know if I was ready to step away from that for something that I was not very experienced at. So that was kind of justification, seeing all the people in line that day whenever we opened.
Yeah. Did your background in marketing kind of help you? Did they go hand in hand with you, like how to market Hurtado BBQ?
Yeah, my marketing background is probably the only reason why this company has made it and why we're still, so successful today. Um, Whenever we opened our first brick and mortar, it was during COVID, February 2020, and nobody knew then what we know now, obviously. And we had an insane line when we opened our brick and mortar. It was like 3.5 city blocks long. There's probably 450 people waiting to eat our food, and they'd been waiting since like 5 o'clock in the morning. And that was all great, and we had a real successful launch. And then COVID hit, and they made everyone shut down. And I had to put some plans in place really quickly to persevere. And a lot of that included doing online orders, which we already were set up for from a marketing perspective. I just flipped the switch and we went to curbside pickup, online orders only. We actually started hiring people the first week that everything shut down. We were considered a necessary business or whatever, and
Yeah.
they allowed us to stay open. And we were, just doing curbside pickup only, and we were killing it. I mean, I don't think we skipped a beat.
I do remember myself, me and Gavin went to one of your when you were at Division One, and not even saying like, "Hey, man, that guy's my nephew," got me any further ahead in line. Like I still had to wait, but it was worth it, man. I mean, I try and tell everyone that's coming through Dallas or Arlington, I tell them, go try this barbecue. It's my nephew's, and I'm not just saying that because he's family. I'm like, this
Yeah.
shit is the real deal, and
Yeah.
I come from a very background, barbecue friendly background.
Yeah.
My brother does competition brisket and everything. And even he said, this is some of the best shit I've ever had. Yeah.
That's cool, man. I appreciate that.
In 2020, when everything shut down and you were doing the curbside, you also had plans before that, you had plans to expand already, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we were, just opening that location, and then we eventually were in talks with the city of Little Elm to open a location over there in North Dallas. And then it just so happened that we opened a location the following year in Fort Worth. The Little Elm location was great for a little while, and then it just completely tanked for some reason during the fall. So we closed it in February of this year in 2023. And that was a really tough decision, but ultimately it was the smartest decision we could have made because our other locations have just absolutely killed it since then. So
Yeah. And being a new kid on the block, because, barbecue is like it's a thing, man. And you have to have
yeah,
the name, Lockhart's, Franklin's. You have to have that name that kind of goes along with your product. Being the new kid on the block, you received a lot of support from a lot of these people would think like, oh, they're talking about barbecue, but it's a big deal, man. It's in
yeah.
the South and Texas, and like you received a lot of support from these old schoolers. How did that feel that you were accepted so quickly? Did that make you believe in your product that much more?
It definitely does. And there's a lot of people in barbecue that have been really supportive. The barbecue community is really close knit. And I mean, of course, there's always going to be people that are like, oh, well, these guys haven't really proved themselves yet, or, I don't really know who they are, what they're all about. But for the most part, everyone in barbecue has been really supportive. And, they're like, hey, if you ever need anything, how can I help you? And even as far down south as Houston, Ronnie Killen, who's a legend in Texas barbecue and just an awesome restaurateur and person to know, we made a bet over the World Series, and it was over the ALCS. And he bet, that if the Astros won, that I was going to have to buy an Astros jersey and go down there and do a collab with them. Well, he texted me this morning that he bought his Rangers jersey and he's ready to come up here and do our collab with us. So that'll probably go down sometime in February or March, but I'm pretty pumped about that. And overall, man, it's a really cool thing to be in the barbecue community. I've been able to cook for some really amazing people. I've been able to meet some celebrities and stuff like that. But honestly, the most rewarding thing is just walking on this patio and seeing all these people out here and being
Wow.
able to walk up to them and say, hey, how was everything today? And shake their hand. that matters more to me than anyone that I've been able to meet through the
Yeah, yeah.
barbecue world.
All right on, man. Well, we're going to get right into that. The whole Rangers thing comes into play. But like I said, everything has happened to you pretty quick. And like the entertainment industry, man, when something happens real quick, people tend to start believing their own hype. And you've taken it all, man. You're very humble, and there's a lot of humility in you. You had a very famous screenwriter director contact you to work with you. I don't know if you could talk about that. If you could say his name.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So Taylor Sheridan, I met him through a very close friend of mine who's his executive chef. I got to go do an event for him and cook for a horse cutting event that he had at the Bosque Ranch earlier this year. And he told me, Taylor did, he was like, "Hey, I'd really like for you to consider carrying our beef from the 4 Sixes Ranch, which he now owns." Here we are 6, 7 months later. All of our beef comes from the 4 Sixes Ranch. I've been fortunate enough to go to that ranch 3 or 4 times and cook for all the cowboys out there. And we're pretty soon going to be working with Taylor to do a lot more stuff, caterings, and helping out with some of his horse shows and whatnot. So it's just a great, great contact to have. And speaking of humility, man, you won't meet a more humble person than when you have a conversation with that guy. He's just
really?
great person all around. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Something tells me he's working on a screenplay of a barbecue entrepreneur who has to battle the city to keep his place open.
Yeah. If I could get, I don't know who I'd get to play my part, but maybe Seth Rogen. I don't know.
Seth Rogen. No, man. You got to get Mario Lopez. You got to keep it.
My wife would like that.
Another thing, man, your partnership with Texas Rangers. Of course, this is being recorded the day after they win the World Series. How does that make you feel?
It's a Cinderella story, honestly, in every sense of the word. The Rangers and I met through one of the players. He's one of the pitchers that doesn't play for them anymore, unfortunately. But I reached out to him on Twitter a couple years ago. His name's Taylor Hearn. He's a local guy here from North Texas. And I was talking about barbecue and whatnot. And he was like, "Man, you got to come bring us some food sometime." So we met. Long story short, we ended up doing, we were part of this pilot program at the ballpark last season called Arlington Eats. It was the first season that they have ever done it. And if you know, the Rangers did not have the best season last year or the year before. So we were part of that. And, we got on there and we were able to serve food like once a month. And we just absolutely killed it. I mean, our lines were super long and we cooked everything here at the restaurant and brought it over there. So at the end of the season, I met with the Rangers executives and they were like, "Hey, you guys killed it. Y'all did so well. Would you consider being a part of Globe Life Field permanently, signing a deal with us?" And I was like, I would be honored. So we signed a sponsorship deal with them. We became the official barbecue restaurant of the Texas Rangers this season. There's been a lot of ups and downs. I mean, we had a really great start to the season. And then, the middle of the season started to tank a little bit and everyone was worried about whether we were going to even make the playoffs or not. And we just never lost faith. I mean, the guys, when you meet them, the players on the team, they're incredible people. They're just like me and you, and they just happen to play baseball for a living. And I've had a lot of them out to the restaurant. The coaches have come out to the restaurant. We've just had a ton of support from the team on a very personal level. So it's been amazing to be a part of this team this season, and then to go to the playoffs, be a wild card, and then beat the Astros in the ALCS, and then to win the World Series. I mean, it's a Cinderella story. So we're proud to be a part of it.
Did you deliberately schedule yourself when they were doing the World Series home games so you'd be there?
Yeah, I actually got tickets to game 1 of the World Series, and I got to take my kids and my wife. And that was really special. So it's just one of those core memories that you'll never forget. But we were able to host watch parties there at the ballpark, which was really cool. Our stand was open for every single watch party and for every home game. So we've been able to serve food all season long and well into the postseason, which was great.
Right on, man. Well, I'm not a big sports guy. But I do know how significant that was yesterday. And I was refreshing during my show to see what was going on. And it was, to me, it made me feel good for a lot of my friends, you included, who have been very, very supportive of this team for years, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a dream come true.
Right on. Man, part of your success with Hurtado BBQ, and just from what I see as kind of an outsider, is your relationship with your wife. She seems to be the backbone of this company.
Yeah.
Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, there's no way that I could do what I do without her. I mean, she's taking care of our three kids at home, holding down our household, doing all of our catering. She manages all of our caterings and she's running our payroll. She's just a super mom and, you know, a really amazing person and a great wife on top of all that. Hard to be everything to everybody, but she does a really good job and she makes it look easy.
Right on, man. What about your family? I know your dad. I know he's a barbecue guy from way back when. But how do your parents feel about your success?
They're super proud of it. And, you know, I think that, you know, we're like, man, everything you're doing, it's just kind of hard to put it into words, you know, and they're trying constantly to just give praise and whatnot. But they're like, man, I can't believe that you're now working with the Rangers, and I can't believe that you're doing stuff with Taylor Sheridan, and it's all the stuff that you see on TV. And they're like, you know, just trying to, I guess, process it all. And sometimes that doesn't happen until months later. But I think they're super proud. And, you know, I was able to take my dad to the World Series the other day, which was really cool to be able to share that moment with him. So barbecue has afforded me some really incredible experiences.
Yeah. And I guess folks who really don't like follow this whole barbecue industry thing, like I spoke to Kevin Bloodsoe a couple of years ago, who's a big barbecue guy, sixth generation pitmaster, you know, has some amazing food. How does that make you feel that something that you love to do has afforded you this lifestyle, and at the same time you're never going to go hungry?
Yeah, that's true. It's a blessing, you know. The biggest blessing of all is all the people that I get to meet just that work with us, you know, like our staff. I mean, I've created bonds with people that, you know, I'll have hopefully for forever, but our staff is like family to us. Whenever we have Christmas parties, when we, you know, have celebrations of whatever, whenever we're in the trenches getting dirty and working together, I mean, those guys in the pit room, those are my brothers, and all of our front of house staff. Like I would go to bat for all those people. And I love the people that work with us, that work for us. They're like family to us. And I think my wife would say the same thing. We know every single person that is on our payroll, and we have like 65 employees right now, which, you know, it's crazy. We started out in a food truck, you know, we started out in our backyard. And now that we have all these people here, you know, I don't ever want to lose those relationships because those matter the most to us.
Yeah. And you know what? And you're being very humble. You didn't even start out in a food truck. I went to one of your first pop-ups, and you just had a grill with a pop-up tent. Like it was literally a pop-up. And you know, and people were having to wait for their food because of your grill, you know, your smoker was not that. And people were waiting, and they knew it was worth the wait. So it was so you're being very humble about everything you've done, man. You've come from literally nothing. To watch you accomplish what you have, it makes me very proud of you. So
I appreciate that.
What has been the biggest challenge, man, in all this for yourself, you know?
The biggest challenge for me is it's honestly just been trying to find the right people to put into our business. Because in the restaurant industry, there's a lot of turnover. Just, you know, that's part of the industry that we're in. And trying to find the right people to work with, the right people to be a part of this. And then also how to have that work-life balance, right? I've got a baby girl that's 3 years old and a little boy that's 6. And then we have a daughter that's 9. And I feel like just yesterday, you know, they were all little. And my daughter, you know, was in the hospital just yesterday. It feels like, you know, time flies by whenever you're busy and you're at work, you know, spending time with all these employees more than you do with your family. So trying to have that work-life balance is a big challenge, but I'm trying to get better at it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you do know that you're building something for them as well, you know?
Yeah.
there's a lot of folks, man, that like you said, you had to close down your Little Elm location, and for those people who don't know, Little Elm's a small town north of Dallas, and it seemed like the perfect location for a barbecue spot because, I mean, there is no barbecue there,
Yeah.
And that in itself would have deterred folks to maybe this, but no, you had opened another location in Fort Worth, and if I'm correct, you also have a bar, right?
Yeah. So we opened a bar a couple years ago next door to the Arlington location. It's called Hader's Bar, and it's named after the founder of Arlington, whose name is Andrew Hader. So it's a cool little spot. It's a nice little dive bar. People can take food over there from the restaurant, and we have like Taco Tuesdays with dollar tacos and drink specials and stuff. It's a rad place to go have a few drinks or craft cocktails.
Yeah. So are there any other plans for any of the new locations? What do you have plans? You plan on franchising it? I don't know how this restaurant thing works.
Yeah, I don't know that I'll ever franchise Hurtado. I'm pretty sure that will never happen. I think we'll probably just open maybe one more location for the restaurant, and I'm taking my time on that and just enjoying the success that we're having right now.
Do you ever see a day when you're not just in Texas though?
Maybe, and if we weren't in Texas, it would be in Chicago.
Yeah, you went out there and you were a big hit. I remember that.
Yeah, I love Chicago. I love the people up there. It's actually a pretty big barbecue community. A lot of foodies up there. They love country music and they love people from Texas. So I think a Texas barbecue spot would do really well up there.
Right on. And we keep calling it barbecue, man, but your food is actually called mexicue. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so mexicue is just kind of our coined term on a blend of Central Texas style barbecue and Mexican flavors. So it's like got a Tex-Mex twist to it.
Right on. And how's that been accepted?
Really well. I mean, it took a little while for people to understand that they weren't going to come to our place and get white bread or get sliced bread with their barbecue. They were going to have to get flour tortillas instead. But I think tortillas go with everything. So, it's been pretty good. And we have a great local tortilleria in Oak Cliff that provides us with flour tortillas every day. And that's been really, really cool. So we want to give people the best of the best. And you're not going to come here and get white bread, but you can come get a brisket taco instead.
Man, I love brisket tacos.
Oh yeah,
and
me too.
I'll be honest with you. I live in New Jersey now, and there's a place there that serves their barbecue with flour tortillas. Not as good as yours.
Nice.
Not as good as
Well, it's spreading. The barbecue gospel is spreading.
Right on. And where can people find out what Hurtado BBQ is doing on social media?
So on Instagram at Hurtado BBQ, on Facebook, we're on TikTok, Twitter, HurtadoBBQ.com. You can order merch on there. And we have, pretty soon we'll be making it to where you could hopefully order barbecue and get it shipped. We're working on that as well.
Right on. And will you be providing any food for the big Texas Ranger Parade celebration?
I'm not sure yet. We'll see about that. I've sent out a few feelers, and we're going to see how that kind of plays out. But we're cooking a lot for tomorrow, so we're going to open early and make sure we're taking care of people.
I really like that Carhartt vest you got on there.
Thanks, man. I'll have to get you one shipped to New Jersey.
Yeah, I'll text you my address.
As soon as we lock in that Duran catering.
We'll try and make that happen for you, man. We'll try and make
Sounds good,
man,
brother.
Brandon, I know you're super busy, man. I know right now is a busy time for you, so I appreciate you taking this time to talk to me. The podcast is called Is Breakfast Included? And if you and I were having breakfast right now, what would we be having?
Without question, brisket chilaquiles.
Right on, man.
Absolutely.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer.
Yes, sir.
Well,
that's my
Brandon,
staple. That's my number one thing that I make at home for my wife, for my kids. We love chilaquiles in our house. And whenever I see you next, I'm going to make you some.
Let's do it, man. Well, man, I have to say this before I let you go. Like I said, I've known you pretty much all your life. I watched you grow up. I know your family. I know your entire family very well. And, man, I've watched you grow up. I've watched you go to college. I've watched you deal with personal like good and bad personally, and you've come out shining, man.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of you. Like I said, nothing makes me happier than when I talk to somebody who comes through Arlington and they say, I went to this place called Hurtado BBQ. It's the best. And I get to tell them, oh man, that's my nephew, so
That's
I'm very
awesome.
proud of you, man. I appreciate you taking the time
Thanks, Bernie.
to talk to us today. And man, good luck with everything, brother.
Appreciate that, bro. You too, man. Love you, buddy.
Next time I'm in town, I'll hit you up, man.
Sounds good, man. You have a good
Good
one.
talking to you, brother. Bye-bye.
Brandon Hurtado, what a fantastic example of hard work and commitment. It's so inspiring to see his dedication paying off. Thank you, Brandon, for sharing your story. We are definitely rooting for you. You guys can check out Hurtado BBQ on social media at Hurtado BBQ. That's at Hurtado BBQ, or on the web at hurtadobbq.com. Better yet, go taste it for yourself in Arlington or Fort Worth, Texas. If you're not local, it's definitely worth the trip. Your support means everything to us. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and visit our web store at shop.isbreakfast.com. We appreciate it all. Our fans are the best. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes. And remember, around here, breakfast is always included.